I'm Brooke Bolfing.
Hi, I'm Katy Collins.
And our patient is Drew Atkins. He's a 21-year-old collegiate baseball player who has recently sustained a left UCL sprain to his elbow due to overuse.
UCL injuries, the UCL is the ulnar collateral ligament located on the medial side of the elbow. And its primary restraint is against valgus forces, which is a common force applied whenever a baseball pitcher is pitching. So injuries range from sprains all the way to tears.
So there's two different approaches, the non-operative and operative approach. For a non-operative approach, the main difference is going to be return to play time. You're only looking at about 3 months, and this is most commonly going to be used for athletes who are not overhead athletes or throwing athletes, or a patient who may not do a lot of overhead or throwing activity, and therefore they're okay with doing the non-operative approach.
Operatively, the rehabilitation timeline is much longer. 9 months is about the minimum time to return to play. And a brace is definitely required after. There's lots of set ranges of motion that's going to be happening through 6 weeks. And this is really commonly done for a patient such as ours for a baseball pitcher. Another big difference between the two is that with a surgical operation, normally it's on 2 different structures on the body, so we'll have 2 different places that we're going to be rehabilitating in the process. So phase 1 of our operative protocol is going to be inactive for 3 weeks. Basically, we want our pain to decrease. We want to get our wrist involved as much as possible and be completely healed by the end of this for our incisions. So week 1 is going to be very simple. We're just going to have the patient initiate some wrist activity while keeping that elbow completely stable. To do this, we're just going to get some Theraputty, and I'm going to have the patient just simply grip this Theraputty for about 30 seconds for 3 times. This is just going to be very simple, very subtle, not going to be doing too much work, but also preventing any atrophy possible. Also, we're going to be doing some shoulder isometrics just to activate that shoulder a little bit more and just to prevent any atrophy. Next, our brace is still on. We have a little bit more range of motion allowed. We're going to start initiating some elbow isometrics. And how we're going to do that is our patient's going to have our elbow at 90 on the table. Going to push straight down, keeping everything completely stable. Perfect. And we're going to go underneath the table, push straight up. We're going to keep everything as stable and simple as possible. We are allowed a little bit more range of motion, but we want to make sure that we are cautious through this process. And then we also, throughout this entire process, adding any ice when needed to reduce pain. And finally, for week 3, we're going to have our braces allowing a little bit more range of motion. But a big thing that we want to add in this phase is getting our scapular strength a little bit higher. So the way we're going to do this, we have you face here. I'm going to place my hand right at the spine. I'm going to tell you to squeeze these 2 scaps together against my hand, just like that. Go again. Perfect. Another way we can strengthen our scapulas is you're going to push straight up. Go and push straight up. This is just going to help all those stabilizers within the scapula get a little bit stronger, so when we do start some more upper extremity movement, we have some stabilization there. And we also want to initiate a little bit of stretching in this phase and some endurance so that we can have the full kinetic chain working.
So now moving in phase 2, our main goals is 1, we want to make sure that Drew is relatively completely pain-free. As well, we want him to be able to get into about 130 degrees of elbow flexion, as well as regaining all strength in wrist flexion and extension. So these are going to be our primary goals throughout this phase. And so in week 4 and 5, we're going to begin a lot of strengthening stuff. So Katy, if you want to come over here. With wrist strengthening, we can just do a little bit, if your hand is right off the edge of the table. And with a 1-pound weight, we're just going to flex and extend the wrist, as well as pronation and moving into supination with palm up. And so we can do this in all directions, about 3 sets of 10. So this will be a good work for us to just work on strengthening that wrist and also using cryotherapy as needed and endurance as well. And now in weeks 5 and 6, our main thing here is we're just going to continue to progress these exercises, just progressing them in weight, using a little bit heavier weight for all the things that we did in weeks 4 through 5. And then week 7 through 8, this is a big week for us because we're going to start throwers 10 exercises. So this is just gonna be the beginning stages, doing internal and external rotation down by the side. So Katie, if you wanna come over here, we're gonna demonstrate external rotation. So having the towel underneath your arm, you're just gonna palm up, move outward into an external rotation and come back in, out, in. And you're gonna do about 3 sets of 10 on this, and you would also do internal rotation as well.
So we're moving on into phase 3. Our main goals here is to get full elbow flexion and extension and range of motion there. We're going to increase our throwers 10 program and complete it. And also we want to be able to throw a ball functionally. So our week 7 to 8, we officially do not have a brace anymore. We're going to progress our throwers 10 as we showed prior to this. And it's going to be adding more resistance. And we're also going to get some more eccentric elbow strengthening as well as lower extremity and increasing basically our endurance and our proprioception as needed. So weeks 9 to 10, we're going to advance our throwers 10 program. I'm going to have you lay on your stomach. The way we're going to do this, you're going to have your weight in your hand. You're going to do some shoulder flexion. We're going to go into extension, also abduction. So we're going to increase weight. You're going to do one direction about 10 times, and then each direction you're just going to continue going, and we will continually add movements as we progress through this. We're also going to be doing some double-handed medicine ball throws for plyometrics, and just continuing adding more and more throughout the entire body. Weeks 11 to 12, we're going to do some light functional exercises. We're still continuing this throwers 10 program. It just piles on each week more and more. We're also going to get some machine exercises, and a big thing we're going to do is add our proprioception. What we're going to have is our patient do the body blade, hold it in your injured arm, and you go forward, keeping that shoulder and elbow stable, and then we're going to turn it and go side to side, keeping it completely stable. We're going to do this for about 30 seconds.
Okay, so now we will be progressing into phase 4. Our big goal here is going to be return to play. As well as getting into some functional exercises as well as activity-specific exercises and still maintaining range of motion, strength, and everything we've already gone over. So here are some of the different things we're going to do. Like I said, plyometric and functional exercises are going to be a big part of weeks 13 through 24. So some plyometric exercises, we'll just take a light medicine ball, and we're just going to play catch. So right here, throwing it to a partner and back, single arm throw. And this is going to be a lot of our plyometric work as well. As now progressing into functional stuff, now we're going to be actually throwing maybe like a light tennis ball, starting at a distance of about 20 feet, progressing from like 30, 40, and so on to about 60 feet. Again, still doing proprioceptive stuff and endurance stuff. Proprioception, we might be doing push-ups with our feet on a physio ball. And like I said, still continue with endurance, now getting into the running and going from jogging to running. And now weeks 25 through 36, our big thing here is going to be activity-specific exercises. So again, we're still going to continue with plyometrics, endurance, and strength, and all of those things that we've already discussed. But like I said, activity-specific is going to be new. So since we're working with a baseball player, a big one here is going to just be working on that throwing motion. So if I had Katy, we would go out onto a baseball field or even get on the mound and have him throwing from a decline. And so she would just go through the entire motion of just like getting that elbow back and up, going into a little bit of that external rotation, coming across the body, internal rotation, and then coming down. Doing this, like I said, from a mound and then also just standing flat on the ground, progressing our distance, starting at about 45 feet, going up to 60 feet. And proprioception still continuing with body blade in all 4 directions now, and then medicine ball push-ups. So at this point, we will have pretty much, our goal is to get him back into full swing so that way he can be throwing off of a mound and being able to compete in next season.
These are our sources, and thank you.
Thank you.